Monstar and his mob nail the Silverhawks one by one.
Welcome back to Retro Wednesday at the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about the 1988 Kenner Silverhawks Skyrunner, and this vehicle is kind of crazy. Yes, it is like a giant space octopus, and kind of creepy, kind of crazy, kind of fun, very impractical, which is kind of makes it more fun. But anyway, we're going to take a look at this. We're going to show the features. Of course, we're going to do the coveted retro lightning round because it's a vehicle, and with all of that, we're going to get a look at all the features. We're going to look at this, do some comparisons, and have a little bit of fun with it. And then, you know me, I like to discuss stuff. Would Super 7 ever make this for the Ultimates line? And we'll get into that coming up. Before we get into the wonderful lightning round, I do want to just show kind of a good 360 of it. You can see all of the tentacles. He has 5, and you can see how Monstar sits in there, and then you can see pretty much everything going on with this. It's got a little missile down there, but we'll see it all in the lightning round, and then we'll go into each one a little bit more in depth. But yeah, it's in a way it's a very simplistic vehicle. In a way, it's elegant, and it's one that I just don't remember as a kid. So we'll get into a little bit of all of that, and modern day pricing. We'll compare it to the other vehicles in the line, because I think that would be a lot of fun. But yes, let's have a little bit of fun with this guy today. Lightning round. Features include 5 movable, adjustable tentacles, kind of stiff. Eyeball, sticker decal, very nice. Blue missile for firing. Button for firing. Helicopter skids on a giant space octopus. Yes. Seatbelt, even crime lords know safety first. Giant gray handle. Small orange lever that you pull out to make tentacles work. Also, a wonderful locking mechanism. 17 inches long for hours of fun. Yes, this vehicle does have a top, a middle, and a bottom. Retractable handle for realistic play. I do always try to have fun with that lightning round stuff. Fun feature. So, the main gimmick in here, and let's just get right to it, is with these tentacles. Now, it's a kind of a ridiculous, in a way, a ridiculous concept, but as you saw with that lightning round, the tentacles, and then you can turn this thing back here, and you can capture a figure, and then you can fly around with it. So, like, in my mind, the whole gimmick here is you're just flying around catching, like Danielson, and you're catching these Silverhawks. And I'm using him because, well, let's just be honest, I don't want to mess up any chrome on a Silverhawk, and he's already kind of yellowed, but he's got chrome too, but there's less chance of messing his chrome up with this gimmick. So that you're flying around, just catching them like with chopsticks. In a way, that's kind of how that feels. And he holds in there pretty good, and that's kind of nice. And at the same time, then you also have this missile that you can launch on the side. Now that launches with this trigger here, and it goes backwards, and that's what this handle's all about, I think. Like, it's kind of like a little gun. I never saw this in the store as a kid, and I never even knew about this as a kid. And in fact, I didn't even know about the Mirage. But the only reason I even know about Silverhawks is because my stepbrother had the Silverhawks, and I messed with them back then. And he didn't have them all, though. He just had a couple. And I wasn't a big fan of the whole arms pop to the side gimmick as a kid. So at the same time, like, this toy line really wasn't fun to play with, but the vehicles were pretty interactive. And I think I would have had fun with this as a kid. I would have come up with a bunch of crazy things to do with it. But I do see a lot of issues where, like, the connection points are broken on these, and of course missing tentacles. And this one's probably not even in the best shape, but it works. It gets the job done. I'm pleased with how well it works, even if it's got maybe some issues. But It also has the sticker decals, and they're pretty good. These are pretty good. I've seen some where either they're missing or they're just rough shape, but the sticker decals are nice. Nice overall to have some detail. I guess I'm missing something that should go there, but overall, not that big of a deal. And a pretty simplistic vehicle overall. Removing Monstar from the seat, you can kind of see in there, there's plenty of space for his legs. There's no detail for an instrument cluster or anything. And then the seatbelt is strange because it just kind of, I guess, either I'm doing it wrong, I've been told that before, I'm doing it wrong, or you just shove it into this space between the seat and this. So I don't know, but the seatbelt is a thing that, like, you just definitely want to check. See, it's got the seatbelt and all of that fun stuff. It feels like something that could actually break pretty easy if you're too rough with it, but it's weird. Just weird. Kinner come up with some strange stuff back in the day. And like, I've never really seen anything like this before or since then. So it is quite an odd vehicle. I am a little perplexed about what this thing even is here. It feels like it should do something, but I guess it's just decorative. I mean, I looked at the box, and I've got a picture of the box. I've looked at the back of the box. I don't have the actual box. And it's just not... I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's pretty simple. I don't get it. I guess it's just a decorative piece. Kind of like these. These don't do anything either. They're decorative pieces. They're actually slightly different color grays, too. That's interesting, too. Like, this gray matches that gray, but that gray is darker. So... a lot of weird stuff about this vehicle. This is thing, and it is on the super rare side of vintage toy vehicles, but still strange. Let's take a closer look at one of these tentacles here. I'll get up closer, and it is kind of rubbery, but as you get closer to the thicker part, it's not very pliable. Now, I do believe that it's hardened over the years, and that these were probably all even way softer when they first came out. But I don't ever have the privilege of handling this 40 years ago, 1988 is when this came out, to know how much firmer these are. So maybe somebody that's had one of these when they were a kid and then has one now could say, yeah, they just got harder over time. But also this one's discolored versus those, so I try to put all my best ones on it and stuff. But let's go ahead and get into talking about price on this thing. Now, this thing is... generally, I don't know. I actually saw an auction years ago, and I was going to bid on it. It went for $215, and I think it was only missing one or two tentacles. And then I was like, well, okay, so I'll try to find one for $2, but I've never found one for $2. They're minimum of $300, and they usually go up to about $6 or $7, depending on how complete, condition, functionality, anything broken, and that. So I ended up getting mine. I don't even know anymore how much I got in it, because I bought 2 different ones and 3 lots, and then sold all my extra stuff off, except I got an extra tentacle in case something happens to one of them. But with all of that, it's like a pretty expensive vehicle. So in my mind, I don't really feel like this is worth $600 or $700, but the rarity, I guess, puts it there. And with that, it's one of those things that we get into kind of the next topic. So next one, like, idea or question or thought process is, would Super 7 make an Ultimates version of this? And as you can see, like, we've already got just the Super 7 Ultimates. Quicksilver is bigger than the Kinner Monstar, but the actual Super 7 Ultimates Monstar is twice the size of him, and I guess I have to show this. Shine some light on the situation here, but I've got Monstar back here, and he is literally behind the shelf, the stuff I'm standing these guys on, and that's how big he is. Like, he's almost as tall as this guy standing on the bottom of the shelf, and this guy's a couple of steps up. And so with that, he's huge. So it would be crazy for Super 7 to make that big of a Skyrunner. And a lot of people are saying, yes, I want a Skyrunner in Ultimates, and I think, no, you don't, for space and size and Oh. And we've already seen, like, the Thunder Tank. Trying to reduce the glare there. So I just don't see it in the cards. I don't think enough people would want this. I don't think there's any reuse for it in the future. I just don't see it ever getting made in the Ultimates line. And it's one of those things that there's only so far you can go with a toy line and say Super 7 Ultimates till it's just to the absurd that not enough people are gonna pay for it. Now, I'm not saying nobody, because I know some people would. They'd pay up $500 for one of these if they made them in the Ultimate scale. But at the same time, I'm thinking, well, for that, just go chase down an original and use it as an accent piece. That's the way I see it. For comparison, just looking at these, that's how it sort of fits. I do think that the Mirage is one of the coolest ships, vehicles made from the 80s. And so this was made, I think, a year or two earlier than this guy. And I think the rarity does come from the fact that this guy is, the Skyrunner, was later in the line. The line was dying down, but I do believe Super 7 will probably make the Mirage. I believe it, because it is that much more popular. It is that really that cool. Enough people to be in on it. It's kind of another angle. I guess we'll go shaky cam on this so that we can see it just a little bit better. So it's about the same length for the most part, but yeah, it's definitely not as wide. It's only made, it's a one-seater versus the 5-seater, but yeah, these are pretty big vehicles, and they look good on display together. And here it is next to a G.I. Joe whale, longer than a whale. Yeah, is it bigger than a whale? Maybe. Longer, but not wider. I think everybody knows how big a whale is. And we're over here having a whale of a time, but I think everything's got to be compared to the best G.I. Joe vehicle ever made in the history of G.I. Joe, right? Alright, so this has been my look at the 1988 Kenner Silverhawks Skyrunner, and what do I think about this? I think it's a cool vehicle. It's interesting. I do not feel like it's anywhere near worth the money that it costs these days to pick this guy up. But that's why I make some of these videos, so that you can enjoy this kind of stuff and know about it and experience it without having to spend ridiculous money on it. And for me, like, the days of me spending ridiculous money on this is coming to an end shortly. But anyhow, let me know what you guys think about this on this wonderful Retro Wednesday. Do you think Super 7 should have stuck in the reaction game and given us vehicles and stuff like this? I feel like they should just go back to the drawing board and give us some arms with ball joints and some real wings. I mean, for $25, I'd be in on it, but I would love a reactions line that mirrored Kenner. I wished it was a little bit bigger, but that's how reaction is. But anyway, this vehicle's kind of cool, kind of interesting, and it's a fun little piece of history from Kenner to Deer Hanger Allen.
Galaxy of Limbo is wide open until Hot Wing arrives on the scene.
I'll pick you off one at a time, Silverhawk. You stargazer! You and your tin buzzers are